Coming up on this episode of the Hitstreak.
We as parents, often it's all about blame. Oh, your coach was terrible. This person, that there's always an excuse.
Yeah.
But teaching kids personal responsibility and taking responsibility and being okay with that, right? It's okay that happened. Take the responsibility, move on, and be better next time.
A smile can do more than brighten a face. It can rebuild a life. Smiles for Recovery is a nonprofit restoring confidence and dignity for individuals recovering from substance use by providing free, compassionate dental care. Addiction often causes serious dental damage, leading to pain, isolation, and lost opportunities. Smiles for Recovery changes that. Through a growing network of volunteer dental professionals, they offer cleanings, extractions, and full restorations, empowering people to re-enter the workforce, reconnect with loved ones, and literally rebuild their lives. Every single smile tells a story of healing, strength, and second chances. You can be a part of that story. Whether you're a dentist, a donor, or someone who believes in second chances, your support changes lives. Visit smilesforrecovery.org to learn more and get involved. Together, we're restoring smiles and renewing lives. Whoa. Check this out. Some of the world's biggest success stories started with nothing. Just grit, hustle, and a story worth hearing. So if you've clawed your way up, if you've built something out of nothing, if you've got a story that people need to hear, folks, this is your shot. The Hitstreak isn't just a podcast. It's a platform not just for top performers. It's also a platform that takes real stories from underdogs, builders, and dreamers, and it puts them on the map. Your story, your brand, your breakthrough. Apply now to be a guest. We'll put you in front of millions of viewers worldwide. You'll get pro-level content, high-level exposure, and a seat at the table with people who've been there and made it out. I'm not only looking for polished top performers. I'm looking for real stories from real people. If you've been through the fire and came out stronger, you belong on this show. Apply now. This is your moment. Email management@nickhyder.com or comment or DM the word Hitstreak to apply. The Hitstreak is where rags to riches stories have been told, and the next one could be yours. Blessings, folks. Welcome back to another episode of the Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. And folks, I've got an extra special treat joining me in the Hit Lab today. I'm extremely excited to hang out with this young lady for a little bit. We got lots to talk about. Check it out, folks. She is the CEO and co-founder of one of the fastest growing hospitality companies in the U.S., known for its immersive concept. It's called Playground. It's also brand new to Nashville. But in a former life, she was a very successful film producer. She worked on a couple of small films you may or may not have heard of, like Pirates of the Caribbean, Remember the Titans, Armageddon, Black Hawk Down, and Coyote Ugly Saloon, just to name a few. And she was also behind the Coyote Ugly Saloon bar in Las Vegas. Folks, give it up. She's a badass. Jennifer Worthington is in the building. Jennifer, how are we doing today?
Hey, Nick. So happy to be here. And you're now my new favorite person because you just called me a young lady. So thank you for that.
That's right. Well, we aim to please here, We aim to please. Well, it's your story is incredible. Like, there's so much to cover. I got a big responsibility today, and but you know what makes you great better than anybody. So if I'm failing in any way or going in a direction that does not give the folks the information that they need, because you have it and we got to get it to them.
Awesome.
You let me know. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Let's go.
All right. So check it out. I mentioned the fastest growing hospitality company in the U.S., one of the fastest one for its immersive concept, Playground. What is there's a big movement in immersive entertainment, all right? And that's kind of what you guys are aiming at, right? So talk to me a little bit about Playground. What makes it unique?
Well, Playground is totally unique, but stepping back, the immersive experience space is the fastest growing entertainment space in the country because people are looking for things to do as opposed to things to buy. So people want to have experiences with their friends, their colleagues, their loved ones, their families. So we set out to create an environment that is an adult playground because Adults are looking for fun things to do, right? Play is something that you're a former professional athlete, right?
Yes.
So there's something about this notion of playing with people, whether it's playing a board game or playing at a playground. So we wanted to create an environment that brought people together. We're all addicted to our phones. Loneliness is at epidemic levels. And it's just not healthy for people. People don't have good old-fashioned community anymore. Church levels are down at their lowest as they've been in decades. So people just don't have a place to go to connect with people. And the problem with social media is that you have these fake friendships. You scroll on Instagram and you think you're a part of somebody's life, but there's no real connectivity. So we set out to build Play Playground. It's an environment which really encourages social interaction. We've had in our first year in Las Vegas over 200,000 guests. We've had 6 engagements. Thank you.
That's right.
We've had 6 engagements, and we started as an adults only, 21 and up. We thought our initial demographic would be 21 to 35, but we have seen every demographic come in. I mean, we've even had a funeral. So, we really cross from, all ages are looking for a way to connect with each other.
Facts. And, as I'm raising, my kids are 15 and 4.
Well, we just started accepting teenagers.
There you go. Well, my dad always tells me, take it easy on my son. He's like, because he's at that age where he don't know if he wants to, drive a really cool car and do really great things as an adult, or there's a playground over there and he kind of wants to go still play on it. I'm like, well, Dad, I do too.
Exactly. This idea, the genesis of this idea was that I used to go to a Christmas party every year, and there was a very fancy cocktail party up above for the adults. And then they did all these amazing things for the kids. It was like bounce houses and Velcro walls and laser tag. And I would always grab a cocktail and be like, let's go. And I'd grab a bunch of adults and we would kick the kids out. Sorry, kids. And then we would play.
Yeah.
And it was the most fun party of the year. And it really made me think that to be able to do fun things where we can act like a kid again. And even if it's just an hour to escape our everyday life of, paying bills and going to work and, reading the news, which is less fun these days, that to have that sort of experience of the joy that you'd experienced when you were a kid of running to a playground. And think about this. When you were a kid, you'd go into a playground and I'd see you wearing that shirt and be like, hey, how are you? Cool. And now we're best friends.
That's right.
So it's like getting back to that notion of how do we connect with people and connect as humans again?
Wow. So, all right, my mind's running wild here with playground. So was it more like is that my daughter's soon to be elementary school? Is it more like American Ninja Warrior? What are we talking about?
Nobody ever asked that question. It's a great question. We are much more like American Ninja Warrior.
Let's go.
We created super large scale games. It's almost like you've been dropped into a game show. So think about those like The Price is Right and American Ninja Warrior. And then we combine that with super, super large scale inflatables like bounce houses for adults and Velcro walls for adults. But then we invested a lot in technology, sort of behind the scenes technology, because all of our games are tactile. That was sort of very important to us, that you're touching and feeling blocks. There's no AR, there's no video games, there's no VR. This is really old fashioned fun. So think about a huge room, set design like an operating suite, and we have a 7-foot long body, and you're dressing up in costumes of doctor's costumes and stethoscopes, and you're working together to solve on an operating table.
Wow.
So things like that.
Wow. All right. So all right. Because most of the stuff that we do as adults, we're sitting down.
We don't want anyone to sit down. We want you to stand up. We really measure, my investors would not like to hear me say this, but we measure our success in laughter and high fives.
Oh, let's go.
And the whole thing really is about bringing people together, because if you and I can look at each other and laugh or yell at each other because we're competing against each other, but it ends in laughter, that's a memory that I'm going to take away. And I always say that we're in the memory making business. So we are putting together environments where people are laughing with and at each other, because laughing at you is also funny, right, and fun, and really creating memories for people to walk away with. People
remember not what you said, but how you made them feel.
That is exactly right.
I love it. So, all right, some just random questions off the top of my head, right? So, as I'm thinking, because this would be an awesome place to take work staff and all that kind of stuff. Talk to me about I'm sure that there's people that walk in and they're like, oh man, that dude's definitely getting injured before he leaves.
Don't say that. You run an insurance company. My insurers might be listening to this.
No, but it's with the inflatables and stuff like that. It's like I was actually doing when I was looking at the website and stuff. I was like, dude, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you guys obviously took that into consideration when you were building everything.
We've created a very safe environment. What I would say is we created something for everyone. So there's physical games, there's memory games, there's word games, because your point is well taken, right? Not everybody wants to be on a stage doing hilarious things. Mm-hmm. So, but what we found is that the people that don't want to be doing those things love watching people do those things because it's funny, right? You're creating a funny environment. So whether you're watching or participating, but within the four walls, there is something for everybody to do, which is why the concept works so well.
And all right. So talk to me a little bit about how you guys came up with the concept. Like that had been a fun meeting, I got an idea.
Well, MGM, I did a lot of work a long time ago with MGM in Las Vegas. So the president of entertainment called and said, we're looking for an immersive concept. We're seeing the trend right now. Everybody wants to be going to these concepts, but something more adulty. And so we sat in a room, and again, it goes back to this Christmas party that I went to every year. I'm like, this is such a fun idea for Vegas, and we're going to put a bar in there. Cool thing is you don't have to drink to enjoy yourself, but so people are drinking or not drinking, but it is Vegas, so we put a bar in. And let's create these environments for people that while we want people to put their phones down, they're still highly Instagrammable. That is still important, right? Social currency, and people want to be putting everything up on their TikToks and Instagrams. But really giving people this environment that on a Thursday through Sunday, we're creating for the general public to come in, but really also creating in for team building, convention business, and that kind of thing. So, and then we set out to ideate on the games, which took us about 7 months. And if you look at our initial deck, we would have been sued every day. I mean, we created the most fun, coolest games. And someday I want to do some of these games.
Was it like the show Wipeout?
Totally. Or like games where, where it's like you had to climb up a pyramid with like oil. So like you're falling down on top of each other. So we're doing a little bit less of that these days, but really, again, we wanted something for everybody. So we sort of put categories together, and then we started ideating with a really great team of creatives, sociologists, because again, our goal was to bring people together. So that we do have some games that are individual, but most of our games are for teams, whether it's for 2 people or 6 people, because we wanted people to come together. We wanted this as a way of bonding and creating closer and better relationships for people.
Hi, folks. I'm your man, Nick Hyder, and I just want to say a quick thank you for all of you, the millions of you tuning into the Hitstreak. If you have not already, subscribe to the Hitstreak on all digital platforms. Share your favorite episodes with your friends, your team, literally whoever needs a lift. We've built a worldwide audience of millions, and we're just getting started. Every episode, we're breaking down the playbook of top performers so that you can get to that next level too. We're literally getting the information from the people that have it to the people that need it by bringing on guests that everybody knows and some that not everybody knows yet. So again, thank you for being a part of this movement. Keep listening, keep sharing, and keep leveling up with the Hitstreak. There's been other types of concepts that have kind of been skating around similar type things, because, I'm 44. So I got bowling, I got an arcade, putt-putt. Okay. Top golf, which again, most Top Golf, bowling, you're sitting down half the time,
Well, what I was going to say is you said that perfectly. Everything you've just mentioned, you're doing something and everyone's watching you. As opposed to our concept, you're doing things together.
There it is.
And I think that that's what's really special.
Man, and it's because the only reason that somebody like me wouldn't want to go to those things is because I'm like, man, I'm going to embarrass myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
we might embarrass you a bit too, but.
So I think that's the reason that some guys don't play golf very often, because they're really bad and they make it, but it's about the experience.
That's right.
not, if you only go one time, you're not supposed to be good at it, are you?
No, you keep telling yourself that. I'm a pretty competitive person, so I'm not sure.
Ooh, we're going together. I love it. I want to come back to that for sure. But so what's really truly fascinating to me is all the stuff that you've done in business, and honestly in one of the hardest verticals to crack, which is Hollywood and film. It's gosh, man, most people would love to want to be a movie star when they grow up, and very few ever do. So it'd be crazy for me not to kind of dive into that. I'm sure like you were dealing with budgets, big budgets. Yeah. All kinds of moving parts with weather and people and everything else under the sun. So as a guy that runs businesses, that's always learning how to make a better experience and manage expectations better, I think that's the heartbeat of every entity.
Couldn't agree more.
So I'm going to learn today, if that's cool.
We'll learn together.
Let's go. Well, all right. So talk to me a little bit about how, what were you doing before Hollywood, and then tell me anything you want to tell us about your time in that space. And then I know you started a family, and that's the reason that you kind of made a career change a little bit, but maybe those other reasons too. But let's go back a little bit. So how in the world did you end up on those movie sets? That's incredible.
Yeah, I actually got very lucky. I'd say that my entire career is a series of me stumbling into very lucky situations and then working very, very hard and taking advantage of it. So I'd gone to film school at NYU. And this was back before the internet or emails. And
back in the 1900s,
back in like 1850. By the way, that's why I like that you call me a young lady.
That's right.
I'm going to keep going back to that.
Yeah.
And I literally was writing letters to every Hollywood studio producer. I didn't actually really know that many of them, but I didn't know anybody. And finally, somebody responded to me, a producer called Lucas Foster, who was working with Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer, who were very famous. They had produced Top Gun and Days of Thunder, and they were sort of at the highest levels of Hollywood. And they had taken a little bit of a break. So they were just getting back. They had just signed a big deal with Disney. They were at Paramount before. And Lucas was looking for an assistant. So I went in to interview. I had 4 interviews. I was dressed up in my terrible clothes, and I thought I had nailed it. And he called to tell me I did not get the job. And I was pretty devastated because, by the way, nobody else had responded to me. So I was like, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And about 2 weeks later, I got a phone call that Jerry Bruckheimer's wife was looking for a personal assistant. So wasn't in the film business. And she was looking for someone to literally run errands. So I said to myself, I'm not doing anything. This might be a good way to get in. So I did. For 2 weeks, I went in. I showed up at their house every day. I ran errands. I made dinner reservations. I did basically nothing to do with what I studied. But in the meanwhile, an executive left Bruckheimer. So not an assistant, but usually you're an assistant for 2 or 3 years and then you become an executive. And they lost an executive. And Lucas was so impressed that I had not only taken this job to just sort of get in, and he's like, let's give you a shot.
Wow.
So I got the luckiest break. So at 22 years old, I was an executive at one of the largest, most impressive film companies in Hollywood.
Wow. At 22 years old. Wow.
22 years old.
So, but the moral of the story there is like, folks, that's almost like so many people have said something so similar to when I got the opportunity, I kind of it was an accident. Somebody
Total
went
accident.
down. I'm as a guy that loves the game of baseball, and New York Yankees being the most decorated franchise in sports. Lou Gehrig's a very famous person, and he's famous for 2 things. Well, a lot of things, but 2 things specifically: the record for playing those games in a row that Cal Ripken broke, as well as what the terminal illness that he had. But Wally Pipp played first base for New York Yankees, and he took a day off. And a young kid named Lou Gehrig went in to fill in for a spot, and he played the next 2,100 games in a row.
That's a great story.
Wally Pipp lost his job when he took a day off. Again, I don't know Wally. I haven't spoken to Wally. I don't even know if Wally's still around. I don't think so. But I'd love to know why he took a day off. I don't know if it was forced or hurt or what, but regardless, there was an open spot in the lineup. They filled in with the name Gehrig, and then Pipp, that's what he's known for now. He didn't play anymore.
By the way, that speaks to work ethic. Never take a day off. I mean,
that's right.
Something that the younger generation, doesn't understand as much these days.
I just don't know what I'm taking a day off from. I love every day. I don't know what are we taking a day off from? You know what I mean?
I know my husband always says to me, it's Saturday, it's Sunday. Why are you working? I'm like, because this is actually what I love to do. So I'm very lucky in that respect.
So you spell the word weekend the proper way. See, some people spell it WEAKEND.
That's funny.
So, all right. So you had, again, there's, and like, I'm gonna stay here for a minute. There's a lot of times, like, when you finally get in the room, the people that are supposed to be in the room, they shine in that moment, and the people that aren't get kicked back out. They get pushed back out, and they're trying to get back in. When as a baseball player, you don't get invited to the big leagues if you're not doing big league things first.
I totally agree with that. I absolutely took advantage of the opportunity. And while I was young, I was really smart, and I was the hardest working person in the room. I was there first every day. I was the last person to leave. And the two producers worked very different hours. One worked like 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. and the other one worked 9 p.m. till like 3 a.m. And I hit every one of their hours because I was going to always be the person. I wanted to be indispensable. So I rose up the ranks. I produced, I was a senior vice president by the time I was 25. I produced my first movie when I was 27. And I really owe it to both of them because there were not a lot of female executives at the time, and it was a very male-dominated industry. And they gave me opportunities that I look back that I would never have given me those opportunities. Yeah. But they believed in me, and they were amazing, amazing leaders.
So again, it was the relationships are the greatest currency.
Couldn't said it better.
Man. All right. So You did all that. So here's a couple of movies that I mentioned: Pirates of the Caribbean, Remember the Titans, Armageddon, Black Hawk Down, Coyote Ugly Saloon. You got any cool stories from that, by the way?
Maybe not that I should talk about, but yeah, I mean, so many great stories. I'll tell you one about Remember the Titans, which is interesting because it was such a popular movie, and that movie was shopped around Hollywood. Nobody wanted it. Disney passed on the movie. We had a very small discretionary fund that we could spend as we wanted. So I walked into Jerry's office one day and I begged to buy this script. I said it was a very powerful story. I think it taught a lot of great life lessons about resilience. I think sports teaches resilience, and so we bought that movie for $12,000, and we went and developed it and we packaged it, and then Disney ended up producing the movie. But it was a movie that nobody wanted to make in Hollywood. So. Man. It was a great story.
That probably happens a lot.
I think less so now. It's a very different business, but that's in the old days. It happened a lot. People, unless it was a big package, it was hard for the studios to see the power of sort of a smaller movie and how impactful it is. And I'll tell you a funny story. I was flying from Vegas to New York last week, and I was the two gentlemen sitting next to me. What movie did they turn on? Both of them, it was a father-son. They decided to watch at the exact same time, Remember the Titans.
Wow.
All these years later.
Wow. That's right. I've watched it with my son. It's a
great movie.
It really, really is, especially from a sports background, just with the work and the toughness and going against the bigger, larger opponent. And and like literally, we were in Atlanta this past weekend playing in a big tournament with my son's baseball team, and I'm out on the field literally like catching myself saying, I couldn't say not another yard, but I'm like, they don't get another inch, same type thing. So that's so neat. Black Hawk Down was a great movie. I've seen literally all of them so many times. Armageddon's one of the greatest movies ever freaking made. What was cool about that one?
Everything. Look, we had the luxury at that time of big budgets, right? We're, again, very different Hollywood now than it is then. But, the tentpole movies were such an important piece of the entertainment business then. So all of those, I can't talk about a lot of the funny stories. We can talk after this.
Sure.
But the last movie I produced was Coyote Ugly. Okay. And that was a great and amazing experience. Again, a very, very small budget movie. That nobody had any sort of high hopes for. They had produced, Don and Jerry had produced, do you remember the movie? Oh my God, I can't remember. Okay, it'll come back to me in a second. But they had produced a movie called, Jennifer Beals was in it. She was the dancer. Come on, how could I not remember?
Jennifer Beal dancer. Oh,
what a feeling.
Dirty Dancing.
No.
God,
I can't believe I can't remember. Anyway, it'll come to me in a second. Flashdance.
There it is.
So we were trying to create a modern day Flashdance. And so we set out to produce this movie, and it was the last movie I produced as a film producer. And that's what got me into the immersive hospitality space in Las Vegas.
I remember when the one opened here in Nashville, it was crazy. It was awesome.
Crazy. It is it's a great bar because it's most bars you walk into and you have a drink and then you leave. Sometimes there's live music like here in Nashville, but it's an experiential bar. So Coyote Ugly was sort of the first one where we got people on the bar dancing. We gave them their 15 minutes of fame. This was pre-Instagram, pre-Facebook.
Thank God.
And it did exactly. By the way, you're right about that. Because it didn't matter if you were young, old, like what you look like, what kind of person you are. Every woman that got up on that bar felt amazing. They felt like a star. And so it created these memories for them. So when we opened in Las Vegas, it was on the heels of the movie coming out. It was a 1,900 square foot bar. We were making $20 million a year.
Wow.
And we have people coming back. I don't own it anymore, but people are still coming back year after year after year. And that's 25 years later.
Man, it's incredible. Not to mention that movie launched some really good careers for some young, amazing women, didn't it?
Amazing. Piper Perabo. I mean, Maria Bello was amazing. You know, it was an amazing cast of young. Maria Bello had a career, but you know, the unknowns that were in that sort of have had amazing careers.
Are you ready to take your brand digital? At HitLab Creative, we don't just make content. We build your digital foundation from the ground up. So whether you're launching a podcast, creating scroll-stopping social media content, or building a website that actually converts, we connect all the dots. Podcast production, CRM systems, content strategy, data analytics, branding, it's all under one roof. Because in today's world, content without strategy, it's just noise. And you're here to make an impact. So if you're ready to launch smarter, grow faster, and create with a purpose, it's time to team up with the HitLab. Visit hitlabstudio.com/studio-time and let's build something that lasts. Because the HitLab is where digital strategy meets data-driven content creation. So off topic, you know, as a guy that's been studying all the new mediums of digital media, and I'm a big believer that digital assets are incredibly important for brands, businesses, and everything else. And so when we, like, for instance, when we first started this podcast going on 4 years ago, it was like, guys, the purpose of the podcast, the end of this is it's going to be on SiriusXM. We're going to leverage the relationship with them. That's where I want it to end up. So I was like, we have to catalog everything. We have to keep everything, all the masters and all that stuff, because that would be worth purchasing. And when you look at the evolution of podcast, it's like, you know, TV today started out as crappy audio, and then it got a little better, and then they added a crappy video element to it, and then it got better, and now it looks like Landman looks like an 8-hour movie, you know, broken up into 8 pieces.
Yeah. So
when you look at podcasting, it started out as crappy audio, and then it got a little better, and then they added a bad video element to it, and now all of a sudden we're shooting with multiple cameras, and it's the same cameras that they're shooting TV shows with and such, right? So the evolution of the journey of the podcast is, if you want to know where it's going, you can just kind of look at the mediums before that.
That's right.
You know, and so when I'm talking about social media, you know, 2 years ago, the play was, guys, you just got to post every day. You just got to post every day. But now everybody's doing it, and it's a whole lot of meaningless, bad content out there. So for me, the strategy is big, but the reason I'm saying all that is because now I'm studying, like, what does Netflix, Hulu, ABC, NBC, and Fox all have in common? And that's 85 to 90% or more of what's consumed is old.
That's right.
It's very
nostalgia.
Little new stuff. So that's our, like, if everybody wants to know what the cat's out of the bag, what we're doing with all of our clients and our focus is like, we're working on creating things that you can run over and over and over again, because the power of the rerun is incredible. Literally, there was a thing about Desi Arnaz and how they shot in I Love Lucy in a certain film, which made it, basically led to the invention of the rerun, which I thought was extremely thing. So even then, what posts do you boost? Well, the ones that perform well organically first.
That's right.
Right. So it's kind of like, somebody told me once, there was, again, looking at all the sitcoms, they film 10 pilots or so, and the ones that test the best, that's the ones they greenlight and go with. And then they all had 3 basic scenes, like Monica's apartment, Joey's apartment, the coffee house, Jerry's apartment, Kramer's apartment, the diner. So just studying all the stuff that we've been using forever. And it's how do we use that and get on the small screen that everybody's holding 10 hours a day. So the reason this has nothing to do with what we're supposed to talk about today, but you're an expert.
I'm wondering where this is going.
Yes. So again, I want to hear it from somebody that you did it at the highest level. So when I'm teaching baseball to my son's team, I played it at the second to highest level. So that's how, in my mind, that's how the direction you want everything to go. When it comes to like cinema, in the heyday in which you did it, it was at the highest level, the highest grossing stuff. Most money was made.
Yeah, that's right.
During that time. Yeah. So what can people like us do with the knowledge that you have, and how you're using, I mean, again, you have knowledge that we don't have. So even with Playground, how are you guys going to leverage the mediums that are today, build those digital assets, because it's all a part of what the value evaluation of the company?
No, it's a great question. Look, we built Playground with social media in mind. So we want people to put their phones down and interact with people, but we built every customer touch point for people to post. So I'm speaking at opposite ends of from my mouth, but it is really true because it is so important. One of the things that we've been so happy about is that we haven't had to pay any content creators.
That's it.
You know, people want to come in, they want to post because it's such a unique experience. And so for the content creators, they're in great shape because they've got something unique, and all of the posts are blowing up because it's such unique content. And for us, we're happy to have that. They're doing our marketing for us, so it's sort of a win-win on both sides. What I would say is, content for us, and again, it changes every day. We are looking at verticals for our business. We're primarily a brick and mortar business first, right? We're engaging with our customers live in real life and in person, which is what we set out to do. But there are a lot of verticals that we think that we can capitalize on, right? We're creating competitive entertainment environments, competitive competitions. And again, it's fun and funny to watch. So we're looking at all of those verticals because we think there's so much to do with all of the media that we're creating in our venues right now.
It's the only difference in, the heyday of when you were doing it versus today is with social media, like, Instagram and Facebook,
didn't exist.
Snapchat, they didn't exist. But at the end of the day, they're not that much different from like a Warner Brothers, except Warner Brothers has to pay everybody for the content that they get. And Facebook and Instagram, everybody's just giving it to them for free.
That's right. But I will say that it is a little bit more analogous in the sense that there's still a lot of noise to get through, right? I mean, when we would launch a film, we would set out and, we would typically allocate a third of our budget to marketing.
Wow.
We're huge numbers. And you really did have to go out and sell it didn't matter what kind of tentpole, who the actors were, what kind of, if it was a superhero, what kind of IP, but you still had to market the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And we're in the similar situation too with content, with, there's a zillion podcasts, there's a zillion, bars, restaurants, live and real life entertainment facilities. So you're competing against so many people. So I think it's while it's different, it's the same, right? You have to create something that's extremely unique. You have to create something that people care about. I'm really big on creating experiences that evoke an emotion, because I think that those are very hard to replicate. So if you look at play, just the word play, when you say play to someone or play playground to someone, typically you just smiled. That's what people do because
it's a happy word.
It makes you remember something about your life. So for me, when I'm looking at creating concepts now, it really does stem from an emotion, because if we can tap into a human emotion like play or whatever the emotion is, I think you have a much greater chance of success because people want to be a part of that. So again, from a marketing perspective, it really is about creating unique, whether it's an environment, moments, content, whatever that is. And I think that always wins no matter what.
I bet, I haven't been in there yet, but I bet if I went in there, everything's like you I bet everything that people would be immersing themselves in is a really nice looking set.
So you are so funny that you said that, because that's my background. So that's where we start. We're about set design. So I believe that if you can take people, actually, this is not an original thought. Jerry Bruckheimer would always say in all of his press that we were in the transportation business. So if we could take you out of your life for an hour and a half, we did our jobs.
Oh, wow.
So whether that was a movie or an environment, whatever that was, and you look at the success of Universal Studios and the Disney tours, people, even if there's no one there, people want to go stand on the sets because it's like, this is really cool. So we invested very heavily in design. We hired a guy called Paul Bishop, who is a genius out of Dubai. And we had him design basically the most fantastical Alice in Wonderland meets Wes Anderson environment.
Yeah.
So it is important to us. Design is important. Set design is important to us. So it's not just the game. It is about the broader environment you're creating for people, so that even if somebody doesn't want to participate in the games, you're taking them into this place where everywhere they look is special and magical.
Man, that's so cool. So like, that's been, when we're looking at, we're building new studio spaces now, we're just building sets, man.
Yep.
That's it.
That's exactly right.
Everything is a set. And if it looks good and it's lit well and you can capture good sound, like great things can happen from that. So
it's magic.
Yes, absolutely. And you guys are totally, again, everybody that takes a video is just marketing.
That's right.
It's such a brilliant idea, man. Wow. That's cool. So, okay. Hold on a minute. So you said, I want to go back here to, you said a third of budget is marketing. All right. So
not for us. That was for the film business.
The film business. Okay. So what's a good number, just for give or take? Because this is one of the biggest things that I probably clash with people about. I think when you start a business, you have to figure out what the end is first. You got to treat it like a GPS.
Yep.
To know how to work backwards from that. And because I'm either going to die doing it, I'm going to sell it, or it's going to go out of business. Right.
Yeah.
So those are three really important things to understand when you're investing time and money into these things to grow. Right. So, but until, like, I think every business, 100% of the world has a lead problem. I think we're all trying to grow. A third of your budget marketing. That's right where I try to stay.
Yeah. Marketing is I think it's the most complicated and complex of our business problems these days, right? Everyone's got a great idea. It's all about execution. So let's say that you have a great idea and you can execute on it. If you can't land marketing right now, you have no business.
Let's go.
Period.
Golly, my sound effects are down right now, but I'm pounding the heck out of it over here.
We'll fist bump on that. And it is marketing. Nobody appreciates how hard marketing is right now. Because as you said, if you look at paid social and paid search, there's so much noise. It is so expensive.
Yeah.
Organic marketing is extremely difficult, unless if you're a national brand, it's a different thing, but as a startup. And so how you're reaching and touching your customers is so complex now in a way that it wasn't even 10 years ago. So I look at every new business opportunity from the lens of, how in the name of God are we going to be able to market this? Because to me, there's no point in moving forward with anything unless you can overcome that marketing challenge.
Are you ready to transform your business and unlock new revenue streams? At Processing First, we empower our partners with cutting-edge payment solutions and unparalleled support. We're more than just a one-size-fits-all payment processor. We're relationship-driven. By leveraging our extensive network of banking partners, we match you with the ideal bank to ensure that you receive the most competitive rates and deliver an exceptional experience for both you and your customers. Join a network that values transparency, efficiency, and growth. With our state-of-the-art POS systems and competitive processing rates, you can offer your clients the best in payment technology while boosting your own profitability. Why choose Processing First? Innovative solutions. Stay ahead with our advanced payment processing tools. Dedicated support. Our team is here to assist you every step of the way. Lucrative opportunities. Enhance your income by providing top-tier services to your clients. Don't settle for less. Partner with Processing First and take your business to the next level. Visit processingfirst.com to learn more and join our growing community of successful partners. One of the books that changed my life was Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Love that book.
Great book.
And it's funny, if you read that book and then you listen to Dave Ramsey talk, there's two experts saying polar opposite things. But what most folks, I think, don't realize is are they talking to you or talking to somebody else? Because we're not all the same.
That's right.
Right. So every business has an avatar or a client base that they're aiming at. Steakhouses usually aren't leaning heavy on vegetarians to come in and spend money, right? So, how does a business choose the right marketing agency or marketing support when they're trying to do that? So,
this is a bad week to be asking me this question.
All right,
because I'm having some turmoil with my business around that. I think it's hard, and I think it also evolves, right? You start with somebody that does a really great job, and then maybe that's not a forever relationship, in my opinion. Yeah. And I think as as brands grow, but also the landscape is changing. I mean, with AI, with the development of, all the things that are happening with digital and paid, everything's changing on a weekly basis. I mean, it is so hard to figure out what that looks like, and the algorithms change, and whether you can nail TikTok. I mean, we have not had much success on TikTok, but we've had enormous success with Instagram and Facebook, obviously, but our audience is more Instagram. So, we look at our strategies every single week. We are, I wish we could rest on our laurels and find something that works and then just sit back and watch the customers come in, but we just can't. And I don't really think maybe you can. I don't know about the podcast world, but I don't think any business can do that anymore. I think it's just, it's a constant evolution of strategy.
Oh, and the strategy is I feel like there's a better word for strategy that we need to use, because that's the whole thing. Like when the Hit Lab became an actual agency and we were serving clients, it was like content fatigue was a real thing.
That's right.
Day 91 was everybody's breaking point.
That's right.
And it dawned on me one day that I was like, we all went to school for 13 years. If I'd have been in there 8-9 years and I didn't know that I was that close to getting out, I'd be like, dude, I'm out. You know what I mean? If I didn't know what grade I was in.
Yeah.
And so it's understanding the strategy, it's understanding the end and where you're at in that journey. It's like, are we there yet? Over and over and over again. And so when you can meet with those people each month, first of all, you establish an overall strategy, but then there's milestones along the way, just like losing weight or anything else. You're going to have things to measure on a regular basis, so you can pivot and make sure that you're moving in the right direction and at the pace you need to be moving. Right. So
that's right. And I think also, you've got the economy, there's sort of outside forces, especially when you're dealing with a brick and mortar in tourist destinations like a Las Vegas or a Nashville. Who's the customer on any given weekend, because we're marketing, especially in Las Vegas, we have a new customer base every 72 hours.
Wow.
So think about that. We have to touch those people from the second they land and get them through our doors. And it's a new audience. So we have a robust locals business, both in Las Vegas and Nashville, but 80% of our business is tourists in those two markets.
Wow. I guess that makes sense.
So that's a huge marketing challenge.
Agreed. There's hardly any momentum to ride on that stuff. It's all through partnerships. It's got to be, right?
It's partnerships and our guests that are posting. So that content goes viral and people see it in their hometowns. And we are very, very lucky that we've created an environment that lends itself to that.
Is there any, in your opinion, better place that a business, let's say, we'll say small to medium size. Okay. We'll say just somewhere in the 7-figure range. Is there anywhere else they could spend their marketing money better than making sure that when people are looking at that screen in their hand, that they're on it?
Nope. That is, 90% of our budget is allocated to that, because that is, you're touching people where they live on their phones, which is one of the problems we're trying to solve for, which is ironic, but it is true. You have to touch them on their phones. You can't reach your customer any other place, out of home, billboards, magazines, all the stuff that we used to do in the old days. It used to be, billboards, PR, and newspapers and magazines. And that's how you'd build your strategy. None of that stuff works anymore. It's great as a supplement, but there's a reason that Meta and Google are as big as they are, because that is the only place to reach your customers.
And do you with the, so you said 90% of y'all's budget is going towards that. Well, even as a man of faith, Jesus told his disciples, go where they are. You got to go where they're at. And that's where people are at. And I think that's the hardest thing this isn't new, but it is still to a lot of people. And I think there's two reasons that people don't start something. Either they don't believe the hype is real and what it is they're starting, or they don't believe they can actually do it, which just basically just means they're uneducated and just don't know what they don't know. If they knew how to get started, they probably would. So what advice would you have for those that are literally like those two dudes that I spoke to while I was out of town this past weekend that reached out saying, hey, this is what I want to do next. And I was like, well, here's what I propose, here's the data behind it, so on and so forth. And they're like, yeah, I need to think about that.
Nope.
And it's like, well, all right. So first of all, your spot's gone. You leave the Shark Tank, the deal's over.
Done.
But what I'm like, dude, what's there to think about? Like talk to me about that.
I think that the entrepreneur mindset, though, is not everybody's mindset. I think it is a very specific personality type, somebody that is not risk adverse. I'd say as an entrepreneur, I don't sleep at night. Whether if I'm working, I'm not sleeping at night, and I might just be up all night with anxiety, right? I mean, because there is something to worry about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week when you start your own business.
Yeah.
You've got payroll, you've everything around whatever vertical your business is in. There is something that can keep you up at night. And it's not for everybody. Many people like and should be in 9-to-5 jobs where I always say to my investors, I'm like, God, that person doesn't look that stressed. Like they're walking out of their job at 5:00. They're heading home to, they're going to have
Facts.
Dinner with their husband and wife. They're going to watch a little TV and they're going to go to bed and start all over. So it is a very specific warrior mentality to start a business. And it is like being at war every single day.
That's it.
Whether it's your customers or your staff or growing or, or your strategy, there is something that you're at war with every single day. So I think that, being able to jump off the diving board into that pool is a huge leap for most people. And it's a commitment, right? I mean, how many days a week do you take off?
I don't know what that is.
Exactly.
That's right.
But that's not for everybody. People like their Saturdays and Sundays. And, for me, I love what I do so much that I don't mind working 7 days a week, but it is not for everybody.
I agree. Everybody can't be the owner. There's got to be some employees. There's got to be some other folks out there, right?
That's right. And also, you know what? That's what makes the world go round. But I do think, you can't be afraid of failure. I think every day you have to, take it to the limit and you have to be okay with failure. I think that's like my biggest lessons I've learned have been around failure. Success is easy. It's fun.
Right.
But you learn the most when something doesn't work.
How do people build confidence in something they haven't done before?
Well, I think it's so much easier now with technology, right?
Facts.
Because you can figure out a pain point in your life right now and go build that without big teams, without anything, with AI, with technology. And even if it's not a technology company, even if it's a, brick and mortar or something that you're doing in your hometown, the resources you have to go research to figure out how to do that and how to execute on it. We've never lived like this before. It's amazing. I mean, my investor would be really pissed if I said I spent half my day doing that, but it is something pops into your head and you're just like, you can deep dive in 15 minutes, become an expert in something. It's pretty amazing.
One of the greatest compliments that a person can get is when somebody invests in them.
That's right.
It's it's literally life changing. And that's why you stay up at night. It's because all the people that are in your charge.
That's right.
You stay up at night for them, not for yourself. That's the difference between entrepreneurs and everybody else. Is their entrepreneurs focus all their focus out, while everybody else is usually kind of focused in, which again, that's natural. It's not
a perfect way to say that.
Yeah.
And you think about the orders of magnitude of that, right? So we have around 250 employees between the two venues and our executives. But you think about their husbands and wives, their children, their parents, their families, and sort of all of the ripple effect of that in their communities. So it is a huge, it's something that you think about every day and responsibility to those people.
My wife and I, we're 50-50 on pretty much everything. And, for us, what keeps us up is, or actually the thing that we really measure is all the people that work with us is, are they winning at home? Like personally,
right.
are they winning at home? And one, they perform better when they are, but if they're not, then that lets us know there's something wrong on our end. That's because usually those problems at home, not all the time, but a lot of times they're caused from stress that's taken home from work. Yeah.
How do you deal with work ethic with the younger generation?
Well, it goes down to choices. So the thing that I'm that we're really crazy focused on with my son is my son's dream is he's and this is a kid that at 11 was cast in a Broadway musical.
Wow.
All right. He's been, as a musician, he's been playing with adults since he was 12 years old. But as an athlete, which is what he loves more than anything, he's a much better than average high school player. Right. But as a musician, he's good as an adult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's like, Dad, I want to play center field at Yankee Stadium. I'm like, cool. So I played at a really high level, and I know 0 people that played center field at Yankee Stadium. That's how small of a fraction of the population it is.
That's right.
So his name's Ethan. I'm like, Ethan, I'm not telling you shouldn't go to football games. I'm not telling you shouldn't hang out with friends. And I'm not telling you shouldn't have 15 Dr. Peppers in a day. However, your whether you get there or not will be based on your ability to gauge, is this choice taking me there or in a different direction?
Yeah, that's right.
And if you know that none of your friends are going to go there and play at Yankee Stadium, if you find yourself with them all the time, you're not going to go there either. It's just a fact. No. People actually roast me online for saying, let your kid be a kid. I'm like, cool. What does that even mean? Because I'd rather raise tough kids than repair broken men all day long.
You make such a good point. I think we're living in a world of everybody ties, right? Like in schools, you can't have a first place, second place, third place winner anymore, because it hurts people's feelings. But the truth is that's real life. Yeah. And if we're not teaching our kids grit, resilience, determination, working to hit goals, giving up things to hit their goals, we're not teaching our kids to be successful, because that is real life and that is what it takes to succeed. So look, I don't think that's for everybody, but I think children and young people and young adults that want to achieve goals, you absolutely must instill that level of commitment in their life. And it is giving up things, right? I mean, in my 20s, I didn't get to go to any of my friends' weddings. I didn't get to go to family vacations. I didn't get to go away on weekends because I was working. Yeah. And if you don't learn that from a young age, it's very difficult to teach that to somebody in their 20s and 30s. And
it's, by taking away the winning and the losing, again, when you lose, you have to take responsibility for it, or else you can't change it.
That's the big one, right? Yeah. We as parents, often it's all about blame. Oh, your coach was terrible. This person, that there's always an excuse. Yeah. But teaching kids personal responsibility and taking responsibility and being okay with that, right? It's okay that happened. Take the responsibility, move on, and be better next time.
Whether you love him or hate him, in one of Grant Cardone's books, he said that, if you get rear-ended, it's your fault because you could have left 5 seconds later or 5 seconds sooner. And it's like, but that's if it's somebody else's fault, you've given up the ability to fix it.
And you need to take agency, right, for your own life. That's one thing I always taught. My daughter's an athlete, and she's in a sport where she has an animal involved in her sport. So a lot of the parents, if their child didn't do well, it was the horse's fault. It was, there was always an excuse. I always said to my daughter, it's your fault. And it's not your fault because you did something necessarily wrong, but it's ultimately you're the athlete.
That's right.
And so finger pointing, none of that serves your children well at all.
I love it. Hey, pardon this quick interruption, but it's a good one. You're listening to this ad right now, which means someone else could be listening to your ad in this exact spot. That's right. If you've got a business, a brand, a product, a podcast, or even just a message you want people to hear, you should be advertising right here on the Hitstreak. This is the moment, the placement, the audience, and you're already hearing how powerful it is. So don't just listen to ads, run one. Go to nickhyder.com/contact-me or click the link in the show notes to get started. Let's put your brand in the spotlight right where it belongs. All right, so there's two final questions that I had for you, and I'll tell you what they are. So that way, if there's anything else that we needed to cover that I didn't do, we can knock that out first. So obviously, I'm gonna with Playground. I want to know what's next. Like you guys are growing like crazy, and then obviously, what's next for you? Those are the next two things that I was going to go with. But is there anything else that we've touched on yet so far that I want to make sure that I'm hitting on?
No, I think that's great. I mean, I think sort of thinking about for business pivoting, right? And I think that's an important lesson for probably your listeners, which is pivoting is okay in your career. I've done lots of different things. Every business I've started or gotten involved in, I had no idea what I was doing. Like that's for real.
That's awesome.
And so, really having the confidence to say to yourself and believe in yourself that you're good enough to figure out how to execute on something, I think is a great life lesson for people.
Absolutely. So, and I played professional baseball. We owned and operated restaurants and nightclubs. I was in the AV business. We've done insurance, done a lot of different things. The catch is I didn't quit any of them. I finished them all.
That's right.
I finished them all. And I think, you don't get the gift that's I think that the beginning of one thing is always in the end of something else. And I don't think if you quit, you don't get the gift in finishing that's at the end of that sucker, right? So, I could go back and say I didn't make it as a baseball player, but I know why now. And I've been able to leverage that and use that in the next thing. And I think as a man of faith, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Always.
So, well, talk to me with Playground. You guys are started in Vegas. How long's Nashville been open now?
3.5 months.
3.5 months.
We're doing incredibly well here.
No
and
kidding.
We're excited to take the concept out. We're going to have 5 domestic locations open in the next couple of years. We're working on some amazing licensing deals overseas. And we really want to bring play to the world. And we really believe in breaking down social barriers through play, connectivity through play. So you'll be able to be playing in Dubai, playing against people in Nashville, playing against people in Las Vegas. And we want to bring people together through the art of play. I got a question that most people won't know while I ask it, but that's a really good URL. Which one?
The playplayground.com.
We own it.
I know. That one was open and available. That's like real estate that's like beachfront.
We didn't even need to pay for it.
Oh my God.
I mean, we just paid like $30. It wasn't even expensive.
That's unbelievable. Brad was talking about that with his podcast, Dropping Bombs. And he was like, I just typed in, went on GoDaddy and droppingbombs.com was available. And I was like, what?
You're like, how fast can I press buy now, buy now?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So can you say what markets you guys are going into next? Can you say that?
Yeah, we're looking at Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Grandscapes, Texas, and San Diego will be our next locations.
So I just got back from Atlanta, where there's a massive complex in Cartersville called Lake Point Sports, and there's literally where the kids spent almost every afternoon of their 4 days. There's a pizza joint with bowling and putt and laser tag and yogurt and I don't even know what else.
Yeah, you can spend the whole day there.
That's where the kids go.
Yep.
And the adults are just sitting down.
Sitting at the bar having a glass of wine.
So we needed that playground.
Yeah. What's interesting for us is obviously there's a lot of things to do for toddlers. There's sort of 0 to 6, 0 to 7, and then there's less things to do for teens. Nothing to do for adults. Although, Topgolf is a great, example for us, and they've done extremely well. But we were really looking for something that we solely designed into that sort of 21 and up for. And then we had so many parents calling us saying, we need something to do with our teens. They don't want to go to an arcade anymore. They don't want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. They're out of the family entertainment center business. So it's been really rewarding. We just opened up about a month ago to families. We're sort of broadly 13 plus. We'll take someone younger if they're coming with their family, but the games are designed for older people.
Right.
And it's really rewarding for me to see families sort of come in kind of awkwardly and the teenagers kind of I don't want to be here. And then within 20 minutes, they're laughing with their parents. And that's really special for me.
I think for me as a guy with a teenage with a family, one of them's a teenager is there's really a theme park is really the only thing we can do as a family where you're active, right. and that takes days. And this is something you can do in an afternoon.
In a couple hours. I always say we're sort of like a new iteration of an urban theme park. So something you can do, but it's not a commitment. You're not spending tens of thousands of dollars to go to Disney World or Disneyland, but it's something you can do. It's a low time commitment, not particularly expensive, but you get sort of that same level of bonding and excitement and family time together. Wow, folks, you got to check it out online. Playplayground.com is the URL. I got to recommend their social @play_playground because, again, it's entertaining as hell. You're going to thank me for that one later. Miss Jennifer, what's next for you? So you've done all this stuff and, we mentioned before you'd stopped to start a family. How old are your kids now? I have a 25-year-old daughter and I've got 3 amazing stepkids that are 14, 17, and 19. So you're almost an empty nester then. We actually are empty nesters as of September because my youngest stepdaughter is at boarding school. So we are officially empty this September. Man. Which is amazing. We're sad, but amazing that we can focus on work and sort of really growing this business, which I'm really excited about. It's one of the hardest things to do as a parent
is focus on personal development and growing those businesses and such. But again, I'm doing it all for them, and it's making sure that like, cause I get obsessed, man. So like it's, I have to be very careful to make sure that I'm spreading my time, because I'll get obsessed with my kids just like I get obsessed with the job, you know.
It's interesting. When I took my daughter to college, there were 6 months where I was completely nauseated. I was so upset. I couldn't imagine my life without her. And the day I dropped her at college, there was sadness, of course, but then there was a realization that I could jump back into work with 100% focus, because it's true, when you've got kids at home, you know, especially as a mother, there is a push-pull, right? Like you're not doing as well as you should be doing at work. You're not doing as well as you should be doing at home. You're not being the best mate. And it does give you some freedom to sort of dive in with everything you've got. And that's been really fun for me since she's gone off to college.
What would be, you know, when you look forward to the future, what is, so are you somebody that's is retirement a word in your vocabulary?
I'm going to work till I die. I actually think that I will be in a hospital with my laptop on my left and 3 people on my right, and we'll be launching businesses as I die. That'll make me really happy. Gotcha.
So again, you got to know the end point, right? What are other industries, verticals are you fascinated with?
Well, I love touching customers. So I think anything in the consumer hospitality space is something that I really love. And it's also something that AI and technology won't ever replace, because there is always going to be a basic need to gather community, to have interaction with other humans. So I will always, I think, be in this space, but different, you know, playground. That was my primary and core focus for the next period of my life.
Mm-hmm. Man. And again, you guys are going to expand into multiple markets in the next few years.
So excited about that.
Wow. So, and how hard is it to get, like when you go into a new market like that? So I've only done that one time. The first franchise we ever did way back in the day when we had a little marketing company was San Diego. And that was like the coolest experience ever.
Totally.
However, there was some stuff that I totally didn't see coming.
Well, there's that too.
But like, so how do you guys pick? This is again, business owners, listen up. When you're going to the next place, what kind of demographic studies, what kind of information are you guys gauging when you're making those decisions?
It's a great question. We really try to focus on to make sure that a market has conventions, offices, so all the team building stuff that's sort of the bread and butter of the beginning part of the week. And then a robust weekend, whether it's bachelorettes, birthdays, general public, tourist business. Miami, for example, you've got the cruise ships right there. Mm-hmm. So, you know, being able to sort of capitalize on that cruise ship business. I will say that you can't have everything in a market. So I try to take, you know, look at 2 of the 3 of the most important pillars of what I'm looking for from a customer's perspective. And then I'll take 2 of them. So Miami will probably be less customer focused in terms of, you know, convention and team building, but I'll have a much heavier tourism and locals market there. So I look at each market individually, and we're also lucky that we design our concept for each location. So for example, in Las Vegas, since we have a new customer base every 72 hours, we're less focused on getting the locals to come back every single week. But in a market like Atlanta or Chicago, that's something that we're going to design games and experiences and create leagues to get people to be coming back week after week.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So our experience is very unique by city, which we're very lucky to have.
That's incredible. I have to ask you, who are, obviously, I'm sure you would say Bruckheimer and those folks who is some folks that have just inspired you the most? Like a couple, 2 or 3 people, mentors, whether they be, I mean, some of the people have had the biggest impacts on me I've never met before.
Yeah.
I've just been able, again, access is free. Their YouTubes, their Instagram, their books, it's everywhere. There's information everywhere.
Well, I would say Steve Wynn. I don't know if you know who he is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, you know, he had an amazing combination of the most extraordinary creativity, the most extraordinary customer experience. Like that was, if you walk down a hallway with Steve Wynn, he would get on the ground and pick up a piece of paper that was on the ground. So really his focus on how the customer was treated and what the experience was for the customer. And obviously an amazing businessman, but I would say that he's somebody that really inspired me my entire career.
And what would be like, so, you know, you went into the workforce aiming at one thing, and look at what you're doing now, right? So again, we never have it all figured out. Is there anything that's intriguing to you that you may or may not get to, that you want to, that, like, again, adult playgrounds was probably never on your radar 15 years ago.
Never on my radar 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is that discovery is part of the fun of being an entrepreneur. So
you have to write books. Like, you got to go back. Like, seriously, you're one of those people that somebody's job is going to be to extract, because again, when you perish, it dies with you.
Yeah.
All the things that you've learned, right? So I had my dad sit there not that long ago. He was a music publisher on Music Row for 30 years. And I was like, dude, there's 80s and 90s country music and music industry stuff that when he dies, it dies with him. One of his business partners just passed away not long ago, known as the Mayor Music Row. And so I sat him down. I was like, Dad, let's just tell some stories. So I got him.
Yep.
If anything. And that's like your experiences working with those amazing people. How many, you could probably count on two hands how many people have worked with Bruckenheimer in the way that you did.
That's right. No, I've been very lucky in my career. I've stumbled into a lot of opportunity that I probably wasn't qualified for, but I took advantage of it. And I've had an unbelievably fortunate career. But again, they always say, as much luck as you can walk into if you don't take advantage of it.
Finding the right health plan can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Backed by over 12 years of experience and more than 20 national and local awards, Team Hyder is here to help you navigate your options and choose a plan that fits your family's needs and your budget. So whether you're looking for individual coverage, family plans, or even Medicare options, Team Hyder brings expert guidance with heart. Visit teamhyder.com today to schedule your consultation and get the coverage that you deserve. You have the unique ability to walk into a room like you own it and then leave because you sold it.
I love that. I love that.
Well, Jennifer, like, it's been like, I can't keep you here all day. I'd love to. We've been going an hour already. Can you believe that?
Don't wait. No, we haven't.
That's right.
Are you serious?
That's exactly right.
Nick, you're amazing.
Well, we can stay here a little longer if we can talk like that. Jennifer, like, seriously, this is one of the greatest things that we did with starting this podcast was getting to hang out with amazing people like you, hearing the information. Like, episode 191, as we're filming this, came out today. I think this one, when it comes out, will be around episode 201, 202, something like that. 200 episodes that I've sat across from amazing people.
You're a lucky man.
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly right. And that's, I think everybody that's in business should have a platform or a podcast or some way to just, the interview, the relationships alone have been life-changing.
Well, thank you. It's been an honor to be here. So thank you for having me.
Did we cover everything?
We covered everything. You were amazing.
That's what I'm talking about. I love doing when we're told we did a good job. So, well, again, congratulations on everything that you've done. I can't wait to go. My wife. My wife's the kid that, my wife is the person that when we go into an arcade, like, she walks over there to skee ball and literally like shoves kids out of the way.
That's me too. So I would like your wife.
Oh yeah. She's going to absolutely love this place. And when we do play board games, I don't play anymore because it's dangerous. If you win.
At my house, it's a combat sport, a board game, because we won't talk to each other for a week if we don't win.
That's it. And all of us like to win at my house. So she's going to absolutely love this. It's going to do great. It's going to do great downtown.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely, folks. Once again, the CEO and co-founder of Play Social, Jennifer Worthington. Check out Play Playground online at playplayground.com, on Instagram at play_playground, and keep up with Jen, if you can, at Jen Worthington on social, right? So Jen, thanks so much for hanging today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Folks, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of The Hitstreak. I'm your man, Nick Hyder. God bless.